have 68 animals competing against one another in one-on-one matches, where you will help us determine what the greatest animal of all time is. Okay, so we will be getting into round 2 pretty soon here. To mark the occasion, I even got this nifty 64-team bracket poster so we can have ourselves a proper elimination competition. But before we get into that, we're going to have ourselves a little semifinals. We got 4 animals that need to be taken off the list before we can get started on a 64 elimination bracket. Okay, so first match in semifinals is going to be between Jaguars and Piranhas. I was looking at the list, the poster, and I saw Jaguars and Piranhas, and I honestly couldn't remember if they were in round 1 or not, so they're both up on the chopping block. So, here's how we do this. Which animal do you think is better? Piranhas or Jaguars? Vote now! Welcome to Menagerie Madness, where we have 68 animals competing against one another in one-on-one matches, where you will help us determine what the greatest animal of all time is. All right? We are in the round 2 semifinals, and now we've got a match between clams and crabs, 2 animals that are separated only by 1 layer. Which one do you think is better? Clams or crabs? I'll tell you what, this Friday I'm going to be going to a seafood restaurant, and I will be eating the losers. What's it going to be? Clams or crabs? You decide. Vote now! Welcome to Menagerie Madness, where we have 68 animals competing against one another in one-on-one matches, where you, the viewer, will help us determine what the greatest animal of all time is. Okay. Today we have an anti-nepotism match. We have 2 animals of the same family, and we're going to eliminate one from the list. We have baboons versus chimpanzees. Which primate is going to win it? You decide. Which do you think is better, baboons or chimpanzees? You can only vote for one. Vote now. Welcome to Menagerie Madness, where we have 68 animals competing against one another in one-on-one matches, where you will help us determine what the greatest animal of all time is. Today, we've got chameleons taking on the Frankensteins of the ocean, manatees. Which one do you think is better? The little lizards that can change color? Or those freakish mutants, the manatees? Vote now! Steve here. We've come to the end of our Menagerie Madness Round 2 semifinals, and I've got the results for them. All right, then Jaguars versus Piranhas. The cats eat out the fish, 28-20. Then clams versus crabs. The crustaceans eat out the shellfish, 30-10. In our anti-nepotism match between 2 primates, chimpanzees and baboons, the chimps take the banana in this one, 23-14. And in chameleons versus manatees, the monsters of the ocean win this one, 8-5. That's it for now for Menagerie Madness. Join us next week as we start round 2 proper and our 64-team competition to determine what the greatest animal of all time is. Okay, Menagerie Madness fans, as we said, Next week, we're going to start our 64-team competition, so you know what that means. Bracket time. Here is our bracket for Menagerie Madness. Okay, we're going to start with the left side. We have zebras versus raccoons, cuttlefish versus octopus, barnacles versus bald eagles, deers versus jaguars, vultures versus koalas, guinea pigs versus penguins, catfish versus fox, badgers versus beavers, alpacas versus bison, crickets versus T-Rexes, grizzly bears versus lemurs, yaks versus seals, kangaroos versus orangutans, killer whales taking on the coyotes, bobcats taking on lobsters, and cobras taking on black widow spiders. We have rabbits versus chickens, crows versus great white sharks, umbrella birds versus elephants, barracudas versus dolphins, goats versus ducks, hippopotamuses versus Steve Buscemi, chimpanzees versus pot-bellied pigs, crabs versus camels, honey badgers versus sloths, dairy cows versus moose, Tasmanian devils versus Boston terriers, tigers versus manatees, hummingbirds versus naked mole rats, water buffaloes versus porcupines, ants versus swordfish, and alligators versus mustangs. Okay, so there you have it. That's the bracket. Those are the first round matches. So fill out your bracket, and let's see if anyone can call it.